Welcome to Diplomatic Channel. I am Amarachi Ubani. There's been another side of reactions to the attack on Charlie Hebdo newspaper. Last week, the magazine printed its first edition since the attack, and on the front page was another cartoon of the Prophet Muhammad. The survival issue, as it was soon to be known, printed in over 5 languages, is sold out as soon as it hit newsstands. Charlie Hebdo has received a lot of solidarity from people around the globe who have been condemning the murders of some of its staff as an attack on the freedom of speech and freedom of the press. And while he condemned the recent attacks on France, Pope Francis chose the path of empathy. Last week, he urged respect for religions. Many African media are also refusing to support a campaign that may end up tearing apart communities that have existed peacefully without a threat to their religious differences. And so while the rest of the world says, "Je suis Charlie," there are communities of this side of the Atlantic that are saying, "Je ne suis pas Charlie," not because they do not sympathize with victims of the attacks, but perhaps maybe looking at a bigger picture.
One man's meat, they say, is another man's poison. Charlie Hebdo may have gained more than 500% in readership as a result of the attack on their office in Paris. But African media is not as eager to make celebrity of the satirical magazine. Religion has always been a touchy issue in many parts of Africa, where Christianity and Islam dominate most other religions on the continent. Violence has been committed in the name of defending a religion, and the innocent have died, not even having their say in the fight. So, when Charlie Hebdo printed its survival edition last week, not many countries, even in Francophone West Africa, were willing to publish the new cartoon that graced its front page or sell them. While readers in countries like Cameroon eagerly awaited to grab a copy from their local vendors, the magazine, especially the controversial cover, was banned from being published in others. Senegal banned the distribution of the acclaimed Wednesday edition of not just Charlie Hebdo, but the French daily Libération, which also put the cartoon on its front cover. The Senegalese news agency is quoted as saying, "It is forbidden to distribute and disseminate by any means today's edition of the French magazine Charlie Hebdo and the French newspaper Libération throughout the national territory." Also, no Senegalese newspapers or news sites reprinted the cover. Muslims in Kenya and in South Africa were enraged when 2 newspapers, The Star in Kenya and The Citizen in South Africa, reprinted the controversial cover. Both publications were forced to issue apologies to readers and promised to bear Muslim sensibilities in mind in the future. This happened after Kenya's media regulator summoned the Star's owner after accusing it of publishing indecent images and acting in an unprofessional manner. Worthy of note is that no Nigerian media published the cover. Nigeria is in the middle of a war with Islamist extremists in northeast of the country. Any slight provocation, even via the controversial cartoon, could become excuse for more attacks on people of other faiths. Even worse, more Muslim communities in the north. But that has not stopped condemnation for the Paris attacks, nor appeals for respect of religious differences.
And so we need to understand that whatever religion, you want to or you choose to operate in, that does not stop our relationship, because the way the world is structured, I can never have everything. You can never have everything. We'll always have to deal with ourselves. So whatever the line or the divide, we need to take it away so that we can live more harmoniously. And that's one thing I love the most about what has happened, because I've seen sympathizers from across the world, come on and stand against this. And I think that is something we need to encourage, we need to establish, so that it will be clearer and they will understand that they need to employ other means. Because the reason why religion is very delicate, it's very sensitive. People react to it terror has come from several ways. The reason why is this grievous, the effect is this negative on the world, is because now they have chosen to hide behind religion. Let's take it away from them. Let them go and use something else. They're terrorists. They'll always have agendas, but they should not use religion. Let's take that away from them.
However, what is currently going on in Niger Republic is a clear example how freedom of speech or the press can provide the slightest provocation for a religious crisis. The country on Thursday banned the distribution of Charlie Hebdo magazine as the government condemned its latest cartoon on the front page. However, protests erupted in the Nigerian capital, Niamey, against the magazine. Their excuse, according to one protester, is that Charlie Hebdo offended the Prophet. Authorities had banned the march organized by local Muslim leaders outside the city's main mosque on Friday. The protesters then took to the streets. 10 people are now said to have been killed in the demonstrations, including a police officer. The attacks have been mainly on churches in the city and Christian homes.
There is, however, another contrast to be drawn from the attacks in France. All across social media, celebrities and some rights activists have been trying to pull attention back to the number of people who've been killed in insurgency attacks in northeastern Nigeria. And while the number of casualties have been in contention, it does not take away from the fact that Boko Haram has been keeping the Nigerian army constantly on their toes with various attacks on innocent Nigerians. And this past week, Nigeria paid tribute to these brave men and women, some who have gone ahead to the world beyond in previous wars, and to those still in the fight, which by God's grace we will win. But international response to the attack on Charlie Hebdo has caused us to review how important a country like Nigeria is to the West.
It all began with the number 2,000 as death toll resulting from recent clashes in Baga community of Borno State, northeast of Nigeria. The number alleged by Amnesty International was quickly disputed by the Nigerian military, which said the number of people who lost their lives during the attack had not exceeded 150. But the damage was already done. The rest of the world was already reading about the horror that took place in Baga. And while leaders participated in a solidarity march with the French President François Hollande, online media was condemning the ease with which they snubbed a higher death toll when compared to the 17 that had died in France. Comparing it to the attacks in France, some felt world leaders' attention was misdirected. The court of public opinion felt enraged that no one was talking about helping Nigeria fight Boko Haram. While some analysts agree that there should be better international response to what is going on in northern Nigeria, they still insist that it is the primary responsibility of the Nigerian government to protect its citizens.
My view is that this is a Nigerian problem that should be led by Nigeria. The whole idea of expecting the international community to do your job for you is perhaps misplaced. So we should rightly hold our government to account for the way they have responded to this situation. But I also have a few words for the international community. You know, you can't tell the whole world that you are coming here to help, and then when you come here, you did not help. And Nigerian government has also led the accusation that some countries were blocking it from securing the kind of equipment that it needed to do this job.
Security has been heightened across France with the deployment of an extra 15,000 troops to guard public places. France's neighbors are taking a cue from that and have been taking precaution to forestall possible attacks. Belgian security forces recently conducted a raid on a terror cell they said had plans to attack the police. More of those raids have been planned across the country. The preparedness before an attack is what some say will be a big improvement to Nigeria's approach to curbing insurgency.
What I think we need to also learn is we don't wait for the house to go up on fire before we start to put in, things in place to ensure that when fire comes, you can take it out in a short while.
Every once in a while, the Chibok schoolgirls are remembered, having been gone for up to 8 months with no definitive idea on their whereabouts. While the military says it has been making plans to bring them back, the families have given up, and the rest of the country prays silently for a miracle.
Coming up after the break is my interview with the U.S. Ambassador to Nigeria, James Entwistle. Please join us again.
Every second, every minute, every hour, and every day, business decisions are taken across the globe. From banking to the capital market, manufacturing to maritime, from aviation to insurance, SMEs to blue-chip companies. We look at the different angles of business from the government and private sector perspectives. We speak with experts to provide unbiased views that help you take key decisions in your daily business life. We don't just talk the economy. We serve you a cocktail of business updates that help you make profitable business decisions. Join us every weekday at this time for Business Morning, only on Channels Television. Business Morning, keeping a tab on the economy.
Welcome back. Let's bring it home now. Since